Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Logan if you've never been here before. So this video is going to be finishing off my holiday series video, as my year in review always does. I'm pretty sure it always finishes off my holiday series. So if you want to catch up on all of my holiday series videos for 2020, they will be linked down below. The playlist includes all of my holiday series videos from every single year, but for 2020 I did Vlogmas as well as a holiday themed extra video a week. So okay, so as you can see by the title, this is my year in review video, and this is a very different style for a year in review video than what I usually do. For my year in review videos, I usually do like a montage style of my whole year, and I kind of change it up every year, but they're usually pretty similar style videos. But with how weird 2020 has been, I decided that it would probably be best to do kind of a different style video this year. I had kind of the montage part of it at the beginning, and I will be including videos and pictures and things in this video, but it is not going to be montage style. It is going to be sit down, because I feel like 2020 is just a year that just needs to be talked about because it was rough. Without further ado, if you are not subscribed, please be sure to do that down below, as well as like this video and follow me on all of my social media. That will be linked in the description. And yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and get into this video. Okay, so I made a notes sheet because I want to talk about all of the things that 2020 gave me, what I lost, what I gained, lessons I learned, and so I wrote stuff down because I feel like I am a completely different person than I was this time last year, thinking 2020 was going to be the best year of my life. I don't know, I feel like I have a totally different mindset. I look the same, but I still look 12, but I have a totally different mindset than I did a year ago, and I feel like it's important to address those things. Okay, so we're going to start out with how rough 2020 has been. In hindsight, it started off pretty rough, but like at the time, everyone thought it was just kind of like how the world was, if that makes sense. Like January and February, like for me, were good. I had a lot of stress and struggles with college and college decisions, and kind of just like academically feeling like I wasn't being fulfilled by all of the hard work that I had given school. So I was kind of in a rough place with that. But when it came to like social life and social events and stuff, I was having so much fun. I had so much stuff going on. I had drama club, dance team. I was doing tons of stuff with my friends. I was about to go on a big Disney trip with all of my friends and all of our families for spring break, and I was literally like having so much fun. So like yeah, January and February were going good. The first time that I personally remember like being scared of like COVID and its effects for my life and like our world is when I went on a college visit to Chicago, because the weekend that I went on the college visit for like a scholarship interview was the week that it hit Chicago, and my dad and I were going, and obviously like at the time I didn't know criticalness of it, so I went to the scholarship interview because obviously it was a scholarship interview. I had to go. So I went, and I remember getting back and I was just being like, oh my gosh, I was on a college campus like when it hit Chicago. And then March rolled around, the dreaded March 13th. The week before March 13th, I literally had the best week ever. It was my place tech week, which if you are a theater kid, you know that tech week is like death week, but it's also the most fun week ever, and it was my favorite tech week that I've ever had in my 4 years of drama. I was literally having so much fun. I also had like my final dance team game that week. There was just a lot happening, and I was having the time of my life. I remember on March 12th, we found out that schools would likely be closing, and then March 13th was our last day of school. At the time, everyone was like 2-week extra break. I was upset about it because I love school and I wanted to like cherish the time that I had left in high school. March was pretty rough, and April was pretty rough, as I feel like it was for a lot of people. I remember being like sad a lot of the time, and I'm a pretty happy person. Like if something makes me sad, I'm usually like kind of sad about it for a few days, but I was like sad. I remember being so frustrated, questioning like God and why he was letting this happen. It was like the worst possible timing, and I was just like so mad at the world. And I'm not that type of person at all. I'm like the kind of person that's like, go with the flow, everything happens for a reason. And even though I was repeatedly telling myself that, I was like, no, why is this happening? Why me? Like why I was losing that. And I know that's a selfish way of thinking, but like in March and April, the only thing on my mind was the fact that I wasn't going to get to have a senior year. And now I'm in a totally different place than I was then. But at that time, it was like, why are me and my friends being punished for this? Even though there was a whole bigger issue happening in the world. April got a little better because it was starting to get warmer, so I would go sit outside like in my driveway and read or tan, or even sometimes I would even like go out there and watch something on my phone just to like be outside. May was frustrating, but it was also good. May was frustrating because it was kind of when like I realized that we weren't going to go back to school, so everything kind of just went to shambles in May. That was a rough month, but it was also had some good moments. And then the summer was a little better because I could get outside, and obviously in the summer the vibes are better anyway, so it was just nice to be able to get outside and like go in my yard if I wanted to. And then school came so fast. I remember like I have so many Snapchats of saying like, how is summer gone already, because I really didn't understand. And I guess the whole thing with that is it never really felt like summer started, even though we were like on summer vacation since like March 13th. But I guess we didn't have that build up to like summer vacation, if that makes sense. So summer kind of flew by. School came around and I was starting college. This year has like been the slowest year ever and the fastest year ever. And August was a pretty good month. You know, I started school, kind of got into the groove of things, got super close with my roommate, love her to death. And then September came around, and October, my roommate and I had a lot of movie nights, and it was just like a really scary period, but also really fun. Like, my first semester of college was fun. Definitely could have been better if this didn't exist, obviously, but it does, so we made the best of the situation safely. But I want to end this year on a high note, despite how horrible it was. I lost a lot, but I also gained a lot this year. So with that in mind, I want to read my journal. And I remember talking about how I thought this was going to be like my year. And I want to see if any of the stuff that I like predicted stand true. So I said that I was going to work a lot on physical health this year, and I was going to keep my resolution to work out more, which I feel like I did. One of the big resolutions I made last year was to work out more because I knew that I wasn't going to have dance to kind of hold me up as much throughout the year as I usually do, because I danced throughout my whole life, and once dance team was over in like February, March, I knew I wasn't going to really have that anymore. So I was like, Logie, you need to work out. And I feel like I've really done that. My roommate and I made a workout schedule when I got to school in the fall. Like, we were working out pretty much every day, so I feel like I did that good. That was a good thing of 2020. I worked on my physical health, and that's something that I want to carry over and just make it like a daily life thing, so it doesn't have to be a resolution anymore eventually, hopefully, that it just becomes like a routine and normality. I also said that I wanted to find out my purpose and what I felt like God's purpose was for me, which I feel like was a lot to put on myself as a 17-year-old at the time. But I did read this book over quarantine because I received it in a senior like gift basket thing that was going on Facebook. So I received this from a really, really nice family in my area, and I actually read it over quarantine. It's like a 40-day like challenge thing to find your purpose-driven life. I can't say that like I know what my purpose is because I'm literally 18 years old. But I will say that that book helped me kind of navigate it a little bit more. And then I said, I feel something really, really beautiful coming my way. And I didn't specify like in what area of my life. But I will say that I have that feeling again, which kind of scares me, because I remember this time last year I was like, oh my god, 2020 is it for me. Like, that is going to be the year that I thrive, and it kind of scares me having that feeling again. But I also feel like the feeling I have about my life kind of prospering in 2021 is more like a hopeful feeling, because I feel like a lot of us are feeling that way after this really, really hard year. I think if we thrive at all, it's going to feel like we're really, really thriving because we didn't thrive this year, if that makes sense. I do feel like with everything that has happened, I have a more holistic perspective on my life, I want to say. I don't want to say that I feel something beautiful coming my way, because I don't know what I was trying to pinpoint at when I wrote this in 2019, but I will say that I feel like things are going to start like picking up for me, if that makes sense. Like, I really, really feel that. I know that's probably cheesy, and that's probably just like the hopeful person in me talking, but I like to be hopeful. I did say that I think I'm going to be changing my perspective on myself and life, which I agree with, because I feel like I'm like I said, a completely different person, and I really didn't think about it that much until I was making this video, because I was looking back at videos throughout the year, and I was like looking at like my New Year's videos from last year, and I was like, that is a completely different human. Like, I don't even think like her anymore. So I'm the kind of person, I like to say like year of something every year for my year in review videos. And last year I called 2020 the year of change. And I don't think I meant it the way that I mean it now. I think in my head I meant like year of change, like because you're moving into college and you're graduating. That was kind of like the route I was taking with it. But I feel like now it's like year of change and like my mindset and my perspective. So I feel like that still holds true, which is good. And then I said, this year I will be restoring my health and mind, and 2020 will be a really positive turnaround. It was the highlight of my existence. So I've always kind of been a journaler, but over 2020 I journaled like hecka more than usual, because not only because I had a lot of feelings. 2020 came with a lot of feelings, but I also wanted to document history. And as I read back through my entries and stuff, like I was calculating documenting numbers and like cases and new restrictions that were lifted, how life was going, world events. And that was one of my resolutions, was to journal more, and definitely cross that one off. Okay, so now I want to kind of go in more to like exactly what I gained this year. I already kind of went through what I lost, you know, my senior year, my graduation, all of that stuff. But in hindsight 2020, I really did gain a lot. And I think if someone today came up to me and said, would you trade it all for a normal 2020? I honestly don't think I would say yes. I think I would say no. I think we all needed 2020, despite how awful and horrible and the terrible events that we all had to go through, no matter what it was for you personally. We all had different events and struggles, but I don't think I would trade it. Like, I think we all needed this, and I really think that we all needed this year. I know that I did. I lost a lot, but there are definitely some good things that came out of those losses, because everything happens for a reason. I learned so much about myself because of the struggles that 2020 gave me. Like, I would have not learned that much, granted I had not been through the things I had been through in 2020. I am way more grateful than I was a year ago, even 6 months ago. I feel like I am so much more grateful for the small moments and for people. Oh my gosh, I think we've all learned over quarantine, from like interacting with people on a technological level, like not face to face, or like virtual's the word I'm looking for. Like that I'm grateful for people and like people's existence. That is something that was big this year for me, and that's made me appreciate people so much more and appreciate the opportunities that I do have. I think I'm more now in the mentality that, like, this is a good example. When I get to go to a concert again, it's not even going to be like a where I'm sitting at the concert kind of thing now. It's going to be like, oh my god, at least I'm here. You know what I mean? And at college, I had to keep telling myself that, because there were so many people who, number one, don't get to go to college because of their normal circumstances, but number two, don't get those opportunities because of those circumstances on top of the pandemic circumstances. So I had to keep keeping the mentality that, like, this is crappy, but at least you're on campus. Like, at least you get to have an ounce of this experience, if that makes sense. I think I have more of that mentality now, and I almost feel like it's a good mentality to have. And I don't think I would have that at least as prominent as I do if 2020 hadn't happened the way it did. More so, what I gained was to be more in the moment, and that's definitely a resolution for next year, because I feel like I learned to be more in the moment towards the second half of this year. I was also exposed to a lot of art this year. I'm definitely a big arts advocate, and I feel like 2020 was also a really good time for people to be exposed to art and for people to release art. I know a lot of shows that came out wouldn't have been as big as they were without quarantine or the pandemic. I remember when Outer Banks came out, and like the cast was talking about how like the pandemic definitely helped with the popularity of the show, because everyone was binging something. So I was exposed to a lot of movies that I had never seen before, a lot of series that I had never watched, music and artists that I had never listened to. I got two new Taylor Swift albums, which came at the perfect, like absolute perfect times and exactly when I needed them. I had more time to pick up on hobbies. I feel like 2020 has taught us all kind of how to listen more. I feel like I've listened to just people in general more, and I feel like people are just more prone to listening this year and opening ideas up for conversation and kind of listening to each other's experiences. I also gained a lot of family time, which was really, really crucial for me before leaving for college. I'm a very like go person, but being at home all the time, I was able to bond with my family way more. We watched a ton of movies, which is something we love to do, board games, even like going through the drive-thru and like bringing takeout back. Family time that I'm going to cherish forever. And I even remember like in the spring being like, quarantine sucks, but you're getting this time with your family that you would not get otherwise, because you know that you would be doing something else. It's not that I don't love my family, but I'm such a like a go person that I hate being at home. And we were forced to be at home, so it was nice to be with my family before leaving for college. That was something that I'm always going to cherish and that I'm always going to love 2020 for. 2020 was rough, and I know that everyone had a different experience in this year. Some people probably had a great year. I won't say that this was my best year. This year has offered a lot of time for reflection, and it has let me realize that like, yeah, my year sucked, but I need to be grateful for what I have and what this year gave me despite how much it sucked. I'm so grateful that my family has been healthy throughout this whole year and that my friends have been healthy throughout this whole year. And I know that I have it a lot better than others, and some people have it better than me, and that's just kind of how the world works. So I take the time to kind of pray and reflect on that to understand it more. But yeah, no matter how your 2020 was, I hope that you can find the light somehow, and hopefully 2021 is going to be better for all of us. I cried a lot this year. I also smiled a lot this year, and I hope that 2021 is better. That's all we can hope for. So let's go into 2021. They're not going to know what to hit them. Yes, I am praying for all of you. I hope that you are all healthy and safe. And yeah, I will see you next year.